Then I'm going to tell you why NaNoWrimo is a good idea, and how with a few tweaks, you could really turn it into a catapult for your writing career. So first off, what is NaNoWrimo? It's a funny word, right? It's National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWrimo. The idea is that you write 50,000 words in the 30 days of November, including Thanksgiving. Yes, I don't know why they picked November. But it turns out to be about 1,700 words per day if you write every day. If you don't write every day, then it's more than 1,700 words per day. So first off, let's talk the trash. NaNoWrimo is a terrible idea for new authors. Maybe a pro author who's used to writing that much word count every day could pull it off really easily. I'm sure plenty of professional writers could do that. They could probably write, there are plenty of authors, I think, that could write a novel in 5 days, 3 days even, I bet. But for a new author, you are really setting yourself up for failure. Because let's look at the possible outcomes. One, you fail to finish, and December 1st, you put that half-finished manuscript on the shelf, and you failed. You're a failed novel writer. Too bad, so sad. Hey, it's Christmas. Let's think about something happy. The other option is you finish your 50,000 word manuscript, but it kind of needs some work. Okay, let's be honest, it needs a lot of work. And it's Christmas coming, and you really don't want to edit a 50,000 word manuscript right now. And so you put it on the shelf and you never look at it again. Okay, those are the really bad failure states. Let's look a little more positive. You finish the manuscript, you edit it, and maybe you even publish it on Amazon, and it disappears. You never hear anything about it again. Maybe your mom buys it, maybe a few of your really patient friends buy it, and that's it. And it's been so much work packed into such a short amount of time and for so little return, and you're exhausted, and it's Christmas, and the idea of writing anything more, it just doesn't really do it for you, and so you never write anything more. Do you see what I'm getting at here, where the possible failure is? The other option is that you could finish in November, or maybe you don't finish in November, but you kind of enjoyed it, all the writing, so you buckle down, you finish it, and you keep on writing. That is the success state. Even though you failed at NaNoWrimo, you kept writing and you built a career out of it. That's a pretty good ending. Or maybe you finished in November and you edited and you published and you kept on writing. That's the best possible solution, but how likely does that seem? If you look at all the possible scenarios, do you really think you're going to hit that last one? Are you feeling confident? I'm not. So in those last two scenarios, it was just the jumpstart that you needed for your writing career. But in the other scenarios, it's nothing but failure, and like career-killing failure, the kind where you never write again. And that's the danger of NaNoWrimo, because I'm assuming that you want to write more than one novel, right? If you're watching this channel, you want a successful writing career. I want a successful writing career. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. And NaNoWrimo is the perfect recipe for a new author to burn himself out. So let's look at the setup. You go from 0 words per day to 1,700 words per day. That's a big step. And you're probably going to write sloppy, and they kind of encourage that in NaNoWrimo. If you read any of the materials around it, they really encourage you to write sloppy and just write fast and get the words out on the paper. There's an author, Dean Wesley Smith, really great author that I'd recommend you follow. He has some great materials for new authors. He has this great book, Writing into the Dark, about how to write without planning ahead. So a great author, has a long career, has written a lot of books, and he has a very similar take on NaNoWrimo. And he brought up this point in a recent blog post of his, that if you write a sloppy 50,000 words, even if you win and finish the word count, you're not going to want to go back and edit that mess. Nobody in their right mind would want to. And you're certainly not going to get anybody to read it until it's edited. And so it goes into a file and you never touch it again. And to quote Mr. Smith, it seems like a total waste of a month. So even worse, writing a novel is a really challenging task for a beginner. And NaNoWrimo offers 2 paths to overcome that challenge. The first one is no plot, no problem. You just write and see what comes. And I guess that works if you go into November with no plot, and a lot of writers can do that. But if you've never written a novel before and you are writing sloppy, then the mess is just going to be that much worse. The other option is Plantober. You take the month of October and you plan out your whole novel for November. But the danger there is that you hit November and filling out that plan is like filling out the world's longest worksheet in school, and it becomes just a grinding work because you remember those packets you got in English class in high school. Did you enjoy filling those out? No, neither did I. Nobody enjoys filling those out. So it can be really hard to keep up your morale if you're just filling out a worksheet throughout the month of November and filling out a lot of it every day. Anyway, I could keep going, but no matter how you approach it, it really looks to me like NaNoWrimo is setting you up for failure. Okay, so that's my Debbie Downer act. I'm going to step back and let's look at what's good about NaNoWrimo. First of all, it's time boxed and there's a concrete and achievable goal. You really can achieve 50,000 words in 30 days. Totally possible. And it gives you good feedback too, because you cross that 50,000 words by the end of November or you don't. That is solid feedback. And people tend to do NaNoWrimo together, like a running group might run a marathon together. And that's a great way to approach a challenge like this because you get excited and there's that camaraderie, and it just anything that gets you excited about writing is a good thing in general. And then finally, if you're a new author, it can really work as a rite of passage because you're proving to yourself that you can really do it. And even if you have a lousy novel at the end of it, you still wrote a novel. And there's a lot of value in that and just proving to yourself that you can write and you can write a lot. So I've been thinking, how can you take those good things and remove the worst of the negatives? How do you guarantee success for yourself with a big challenge like NaNoWrimo? So here's what I came up with. Instead of writing one 50,000 word novel, why not write an I can't say this word. Why not write an anthology of 8 6,000 word stories? So 8 times 6,000 is, I think, 48,000. So why not write 8 stories instead of one novel? You could call it NaNoWrimo. It's harder to say but easier to write. It's a small tweak, but I think it's significant because let's look at the possible outcomes here. So if you fail to finish, on December 1st, you have between 1 and 7 completed stories. And if you succeed, you have 8 completed stories. Either way, no matter how the month goes, you've probably proved to yourself several times over that you can write. If you write one novel and it's okay, it's going to be lousy. That your first novel is going to be lousy. Just accept that. But if you write 8 stories, there's a chance that one of them is bound to be pretty decent. And even if you write sloppy, you can edit a 6,000 word story. It's much easier than editing a novel. There's so much less to keep track of. And then it's going to be easier for you to find people to read it. You really need other people to read your stories that you write. And it's much easier to put a thin little 6,000 word story in front of them and say, hey, would you read this? Instead of a 50,000 word tome manuscript in front of them. Hey, could you read this? And they're looking for the exit doors because nobody wants to read a 50,000 word NaNoWrimo draft. Editors charge money for a reason. So the other thing is that the target word count it's slightly lower, 48,000 words. That's about 1,600 words per day if you write every day. But really, it's not that much of a difference. And your stories are likely to run long, so most likely you're going to hit 50,000 words anyway. Now, if you do this, on December 1st, you have a string of successes under your belt. Even if you fail hard, you still win. And you have a clear path forward for the editing, for the publishing. It's pretty easy to publish a collection of stories, just as easy as a novel. And let's be honest, it's going to sell just as well too. That's a joke. And that's a whole nother video on publishing and selling, because it's for a new first-time author, you can't expect a lot of success at first, but there's a lot more there that we won't talk about now. So anyway, do you get what I'm talking about? What do you think? We've talked about how NaNoWrimo sets you up for failure by encouraging lousy writing and burnout. And then I showed you how to fix it by changing it from one novel to a collection of eight stories. So I would love to hear your reaction to this. Would you be interested in trying it? Let me know down in the comments down below there. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button while you're down there. If you don't like it, well, just go away. And yeah, I'd really be curious. Are you going to be participating in NaNoWrimo? Are you thinking of participating in NaNoWrimo? Let me know down in the comments. I look forward to seeing you there. And until next time, keep writing.